Hi guys, and welcome back to Initiative 10, our first pre-recorded episode, because that is what you're going to see now on a weekly basis. We're going to have a sit down and chat with myself and either Kieran or another member of the team. As you've seen from the title, it's all about the first quarter review. And what we mean about that is basically a full quarter of the year has already passed since Horus Heresy 3.0 basically was released. 3 months of fantastic Horus Heresy, lots of ups and lots of downs, and basically what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about it all from the start to where we are today, to the future, what the future holds here for SN. So starting it all off, we're going to start with the very start. Kieran, it was a very rocky start.
Yes, it was. Completely rocky start, especially with the smack in the face everyone got when you realized that a lot of maybe your models were now illegal and you could no longer play them. So I think that that initial backlash
was huge.
Is huge, especially when you try and start a new edition and you really want to grab people.
Yeah.
That just completely pushed people away.
Yeah, it was the fuck Pardo couple of days of devastation. But I think that it wasn't the best of starts. So for us here in the SN studio, obviously with an NDA with Games Workshop, we always get the stuff slightly earlier. And we were already like behind the scenes saying like, wow, this is not going to be a very good start. But we were lucky enough to have a couple of weeks to calm down and play the game and see just how good the rules were in the book itself. But we knew that it was going to be a rocky start to start. And I think it was something that you had to like agree with the people, right? Horus Heresy has always been the most customized game in all the games in Games Workshop. I think a lot of people play that because you've got so much customization, you've got so much, it just brings out a proper hobby. I think it's the most hobby-orientated game Games Workshop have. And to see that at the very start of 3rd edition was both highs and lows, right? And I think it was sad to have a rocky start at the very beginning. Look, right now, 3 months later, everything's mostly got sorted. Yes, there is a few things here and there that still can't take certain loadouts, but most of it is all back. The legacy PDF is huge. We've got everything there from ammunition back to guns back to Terminator armor, characters in Terminator armor to normal armor. Everything's basically there. So we've been lucky enough to get to this stage. But it wasn't a very good start, was it?
No, I completely agree. It was not. But as you said, the legacy PDF came out and everyone's calmed down.
Saved it,
exactly. Just on one point you said there as well, like, obviously we had our week of frustration.
Yes.
And we're like, well, we can only agree with everyone that yes, it is a frustrating start, but we can only hope that it does get fixed. And look, other than, as you mentioned, a couple of war gear options. Yeah. But even then, those war gear options kind of make sense. Like, you've got a Master of Signals who's going to be at the back who can't take a Thunderhammer, but I guess that balances out.
And we also need to think a bit about, obviously, this being a company. And as much as most of the times we don't want to agree and we want all our goodies, we need to think about it as a company, and obviously they need to make money to survive, and they're making a lot of money. They're doing very well, but obviously if they have their certain models, they want those models to be sold like that. I also think that it might be a bit of a glance of how they're trying to deal with all the printing stuff. Because there's a lot of people printing stuff now. It's like, this is the model how it brings. You don't really need to print anything to change weapons and stuff like that. It might be something that we will see in the near future, but it was, again, a rocky start. But look, days after it started getting very well, there was a lot of people interested in the game itself. We saw it here under SN, where our views for our battle reports were getting 4 times, 5 times more than what our normal Horus Heresy 2.0 battle reports were getting. So you could see that there was a lot of interest. And the good thing now is that 3 months after, I think everybody is in a much better place. People are starting to play more, which is something that's very important. I always tell people, you need to play the game. I know you're not very happy because your army is very basically different to what it was in 3rd. There needs to be other things brought into your list. There needs to be things that are changed. But we need to remember that that happens in every single system. Like from first to second, it happens with my armies, my personal armies. We've been both playing 40k and Old World and Fantasy for a very long time. Every edition brought something new, and your list was always basically had to be changed.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's something that happens, right?
Yeah, completely. You know, through editions, they always want to try new mechanics.
Yeah.
And those mechanics will often lead to your previous list not working in the same manner, or needing to be completely adapted and changed, which is, again, it's not great because you spend so long, you know, tweaking and learning this one list or learning this one army, only for it to be completely turned on its head.
Yeah.
But, well, it comes with the new edition, right? Everyone's in the same boat, I imagine.
And I think it's also like a bit more powerful in the heresy hobbyists, because there's so much love in the armies. Like if you think about Horus Heresy, seriously, I don't think I've seen a badly painted Heresy army. Like, seriously, I don't think I've seen a badly painted Heresy army. It's very strange to see. When you go to the likes of 40k, there's a lot of competitive stuff. It's all changing every 3 months, so people don't give the love that maybe Heresy hobbyists give, because it goes changing quickly. So they want to be painting quick units and stuff like that. So I think that's another thing that we have to factor in, that a lot of people were sad to see that their army isn't played in the same build, because they've put a lot of hours of work of painting and building and all the rest. But it's something that I really wanted to push for, and I really pushed for. There was a lot of unhappy people, which I had to agree with them. It wasn't the best of starts, but you had to play the game. You had to play the game, because we were falling in love with the game straight away. We saw in the first initial weeks, we played, I don't know, was it 20 games between all of us? And we saw just how good the core rule set was compared to second. They had taken all the clankiness off, and
all the feel bad off.
All the feel bad off. That was one of the main things I think they focused on, which the likes of things not falling off the table straight away, things not being cut down after an unlucky roll in combat. That's, you know, there's so many things like that. That feel bad moments are now very, very minor in the game, which is a good thing. And yeah, apart from that, it's just a very good game itself. And that's why I wanted to push it. And we said it in so many occasions on social media and on our Barry reports, that it's really important to play the game. If you play the game and then don't like it, fair enough. But just saying, like, I don't like 3rd edition, I'm not going to play 3rd edition, it's rubbish, blah, blah, but haven't really tried it, is something that I don't really agree with. I think you should at least try the game. But anyway, 3 months later, there's events starting. A lot of people are now like hyped up with the game. You can see it in the likes of our WhatsApp community, which is for our patrons, something that you might be wanting to look at. So there is a link below. Patreon, we've got a couple of tiers. From the lowest tier, you get access to our global WhatsApp Horus Heresy community. We've got over 200 people in there from all around the world. We've got like 28 groups, I think, individual to painting, to every single legion, to rules. It's a great little place to be. But we're seeing that in the last month, people are now starting to like evolve from the darkness of the start of the edition. Like the self of like the likes of events are starting, which we're getting a lot of feedback and a lot of good information about what is good and what is bad. But we're in a very good place. Like SN itself, views-wise, have gone rocketed up. Subs have rocketed up. We are now nearly hitting 60,000 subscribers, which is crazy, because when we made the move to only going Horus Heresy, we were at about 30. So we've doubled that. Our 6 years of 40k Heresy and Old World mixed together have doubled only with Horus Heresy. So you can see that there's a lot of people interested in the game itself, interested in what we're doing, and it gives us a really good boost, because we are hopefully doing something well if we're getting those views and those subs. Yeah,
we'd like to think so, at least.
We like to think so, at least. Yeah, and I think there's a lot of like new people starting. There's been like a lot of people where like it's happened here, right? There's a couple of people at the club that are interested in playing. I think like 40k is not in a very good place for most people, or a lot of people, and Heresy is something fresh. I think there's a lot of 40k people, Old World people moving into Heresy again, and the likes of Chris Lord, which came to No Retreat, one of the founders of Greetings of the Warp. I actually had a really good chat with him, and he says that a lot of like the players that weren't happy with 2nd edition and weren't enjoying it, and that started going into the likes of Necromunda and Old World and Sigma, are now coming back into 3rd edition. So it's a good thing.
Yeah,
it's a good thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Excellent. So moving on, what was the next thing? Talk about the list building as well. That
was
changed completely.
So list building was something that's changed a lot. I think it's something that people need to get used to. It does take taking used to. It does get, you need a lot of like experience to get it. Right now, I can build a list in like 5 minutes. You can build a list in 5 minutes. Yep. If you've just started building lists, it's not something that's...
You've got the main book there, like the list, the actual primary detachment, what each of them means. Then you've got your own levers.
It's very different.
It's completely different.
And a lot of people are like not complain, but like, oh, this is so difficult. And it is. But I think it's a good thing because it restricts list building competitively. Like it's very difficult to bring all the goodies you want, where before you could just bring all the goodies you want very, very easily with one HQ, so there was no tax for bringing HQs. Now you need to bring your HQs that are taxed to bring other stuff, and it is quite difficult to actually build. So I think that it's a good move. And for those of you who are now stressed about the list building, believe me that after a few weeks, few months of getting used to it, you will really get the hang of it, and it will kick them. And I think we can talk a bit as well about the rules. We've already slightly spoken about the rules being good. There is a couple of things that are very clanky. I think we can check out the terrain. Like, what was the overall feel about terrain?
So when I first saw the terrain rules, I thought, well, these are okay. My light terrain makes sense. You can see through it, 6 up and cover save. Okay. Medium terrain, then you had the 5 up cover save, and you couldn't see 3 inches into it. Again, not a bad idea. Okay, it was cool. But I think it maybe needed a bit of adaptation. And then the heavy terrain, I was like, what is this? It's just like, I go on the heavy terrain, you can never see me, I can never see you. Even if you're next to me, I can't charge you. I can't shoot you, and I can only be hurt by barrage and indirect weapons. So I was like, well, maybe heavy terrain needs to be changed, and maybe that obscuring aspect of medium terrain will move it to heavy terrain. And remove that whole, if you're on it, you can't still be seen, but if you're on it now, you can be seen, which is what we did in our rules pack. Which is,
it's a small little rules pack that we have done. You can check it out on our social media, it's all there, or you can email us on team@snbarreports.com and we can send you the exact PDF. We've slightly tweaked all our games. I think it's maybe more than 20 games that we have now, Barry Reports, between SN Plus, which is the for members only for extra content, and the normal ones. I think there's about 20 games now there. We haven't played the 3-inch, we've played like proper line of sight, which you can do. We've taken off the 3-inch because when we were playtesting the game, we saw on many occasions that with the likes of reactions that there's now 3 of, or 2, depending on what loadout you bring. As soon as there was someone within these 3 inches of medium terrain, which is something that you use a lot, as soon as you moved towards them, they could move react 3 inches back, then suddenly you couldn't shoot at them, you couldn't see them, you couldn't charge them, and it just, again, brought back feel bad moments. So we've removed that. We haven't really had a bad taste from it. I know there's been events in the UK where most of the events have just gone for like proper line of sight, which is what we've been doing. And heavy was just something that had to be changed. It was silly that 2 units were in the same heavy terrain and you couldn't charge them, you couldn't see them, you couldn't shoot at them just because it's heavy terrain. It just didn't work well. So we've slightly changed that to if you're all in the terrain, you can still see each other in and out. So a couple of things there. That was, I think, the biggest talking point, terrain. There's another talking point now about line of sight.
And vehicles.
And vehicles. I think there's a lot of confusion because in the rules book itself, there is a good explanation. But what confuses people is that then there is a graph or a picture, a top-down picture of the line, how the line of sight works with a line. Now, I've quickly got this here because because vehicles are one of the things that obscure, right? So you can't see through ruins. They block line of sight. We are slightly not using it in games, but most of the time, this anyway blocks you because it's like a solid piece, right? But the likes of people are talking about the likes of the tarantulas because they are a vehicle and it blocks line of sight. So I just want to point out that if we are all in a flat surface, this guy can't see that guy, okay? Because if you mark a line from base to base, so vehicles, you mark from the hull. It's any point in the hull. Base, anything with bases, it's basically from the base to the base. So if you mark a base to the base, you can't see him, even if he can see the top of my missiles, right? Now, this is different. So if that is still line of sight, it's not an infinity type of line of sight blocking. So if he's in the top floor, and you can put. Do you want to hold this one? If you can put a line from base onto the base without hitting any part of this, then you can see him. So that's where the confusion thing. People are thinking that a tarantula here blocks or 3 tarantulas in a row blocks a Titan. It doesn't, because you would measure from the base to the top of the Titan or to any big tank without moving past. So I think that's something that is very confusing to people, and I just want to point out that for vehicles it is the hull, and for other models it is the base. So for example, if you have a unit on the 3rd floor of a ruin and the unit of the 3rd floor of a ruin, doesn't matter what vehicle there is in the middle, you still draw line of sight from base to base, so they can see each other. So that's just a little rules section, which I think a lot of people are confusing, and that is basically how it works. If you have any questions about any rules, just comment and let us know. So we're going to talk now where we stand now after 3 months. More than 20 battle reports out. We've played every single legion.
Yep, every single legion. The only thing we haven't played is the Word Bearers and Knights.
Yes, Word Bearers, big bit. We're going to have a chat about that on another Initiative 10, about all the saga for that. But
that's where you need like tea and biscuits. And
you need tea and biscuits. That's a big like Netflix series of what has actually happened. But as from next week, we have the Word Bearers finally here. So that's the last legion we need to record. We've recorded all 17 other legions, which is crazy. We've recorded Mechanicum, Solar Auxilia, Militia, and Mechanicum. We haven't done Imperial Knights yet.
No, we haven't done Knights.
So we've done a lot. We've played a lot. We know a lot. And it's great to see. We're in a very, very happy position. We've done a lot of work behind the scenes, and we're moving on to events and stuff like that. So it's exciting. We want to see what the next 3 months brings, because I think we're now in a position where there is a lot of people now finally playing the game. I think end of summer isn't a good season. A lot of holidays, kids off school. Now we're seeing a bigger hype of people playing, people going to events. And I think the next 3 months are going to be very important to see where this edition stands as a rules game. And obviously we're going to see where the proper legions, what the strongest legions are. Because we're getting surprised. Like, we thought that some legions were strong, but then we've got some really dark horses coming up, right?
Yeah, like, so for example, the Salamanders stand out as probably the strongest legion at the moment, just because you can't rule them on 2s. They never take panic from flamers, which is one of the biggest, abundance of panic weapons that the legions do get. But then you have other legions that probably weren't as obvious, like the World Eaters with their +1 attack on the charge. The Space Wolves with their +2 to their setup moves. Ironically, I think the Ultramarines have a good one as well, because for that +1 reaction, and
reactions are very strong.
Yeah, if you go aerial reserve heavy and you bring Remus, he's the only way that I've seen that you can bring it on a 2+.
Yeah,
so it becomes much more reliable.
Yeah,
as you say, there's some very dark horses.
And I think it's mostly again because it's still early days. Like 3 months is nothing. We were nearly 3 years into 2nd edition, and we were still seeing rules and discrepancies that we hadn't even noticed. It was bonkers. So 3 months is like nothing. But I think like a lot of these legions where their special rule has rules within the newer rules, like the likes of setup and stuff like that, you didn't really realize how good it was until now you're playing the game and realize how important the setup is. So it's very interesting, and this is why I'm very excited for the next 3 months. We've had a lot of things come off. We've got every single PDF legacy. We've got the Custodies out. We've got the Black Shields are now finally out. We've got the what else has come out? The demons have come out. It's been very quick, so we can't really complain about that, right? It's been very, very nice to see.
Exactly, especially after the first one that was delayed was obviously the Legacy PDF.
Yeah,
the biggest one everyone was waiting for to see what would come back.
I wonder why.
That was delayed until the following month, but very early on into the following month, but delayed nevertheless. But then after that, they've just been pushing them out. I think it's just a way of trying to make back some.
Like everybody can play now with whatever army you have. Is out in the first, like the 2nd edition. It took months for people to get the.
I don't think I saw Mechanicum released in 2nd until like a year on.
It was like very, very late on, and we've got Inducti out again, which feel very interesting. I think we're going to have a sit down and chat in another initiative episode where we talk about the inductor, because I think there's a lot of interesting things happening. As for events on our side, we have the Gibraltar Grand Tournament coming up in February. Very excited about that. So obviously, we are going to establish an FAQ type thing with maybe some restrictions, like we always do for our events, in about a month's time. Again, we're trying to leave these other events to happen, and this is why we're loving this feedback of what's happening at these events with certain lists. Like, we're not liking how many tarantulas we're seeing. They're a bit broken at the moment because they are vehicles. You can only score a point if you get first strike with them.
They technically block line of sight from unit to unit.
Because, like how we've explained, they can infiltrate. They just seem too good for the points. So we want to see where it was. We really don't want to see like every single list having 4, 5, 6 tarantulas or more. It becomes getting a bit stale. So we're trying to look into that. But then again, we are like, it's the first events. Do we want to restrict? So yeah, let us know if you're watching what you think we should do. Should we restrict like we normally do and have like an all-round event where all the naughty stuff is restricted and everybody's like sort of balanced? We'll never be able to balance, but we try to.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's less about, I suppose, balancing and more about ensuring that people have a good time. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
It is a grand tournament, and many people might say, well, it's a GT, people go to win, you know, but we want it to make sure that while you may come with that intention to win, you also come here and have 6 good games.
Yeah.
Right? We don't want anyone coming all the way to Gibraltar and then leaving and being like, that was terrible.
Yeah, exactly.
I wouldn't want to do that again.
Exactly, yeah. Another thing is that we're really pushing for, and Kevin's done a really good job, is with newer missions. At the moment, it's a bit stale. There's only 3 missions in the core rule book. There's a couple within the campaign books, which are far too narrative. They're mostly one-sided, which is what we want for narrative. So hopefully we get some new missions. I think the 3 missions are now a bit repetitive, and it's something that we are working on as a PDF as well, to have separate missions, which we will use for the GT, and then obviously post on our social medias for you guys to see. And that's it. And to finish off this chat, this first Initiative 10 chat, we are going to basically, we've probably seen it, but we've heard it, maybe hearing it hit first. We are looking into a Horus Heresy Weekender in 2027. Now, when SN do stuff, we do it at the best of our ability. 100%. So this is going to be a massive event. Old school Games Workshop type Weekender, where we've got people from all around the world, those people that give you nostalgia, trying to bring them over for those sit-downs and chats, and obviously those explanations of how things were done. We're going to have painters. We're going to have a Horus Heresy painting competition. We want to have the initial GT moved into this event as well for 2027. We want to have stalls, you know, old school Weekenders. That is what we want to do here. 2 to 3 days, we shall see where we go. So there's a lot of talk, there's a lot of work to do, there's a lot of meetings to do with obviously the hotel that we want to do it in. But again, exciting times for 2027, and hopefully you will hear more about the Gibraltar Horus Heresy Weekender very soon. So we're going to leave it at that. I think we've more or less spoken about the first quarter of 3rd edition, and we're looking forward to the next quarter, see where that goes into. Comment below, let us know how you are enjoying, or if you're enjoying 3rd edition, what is the things you like the most, the things you don't like, and we can have a conversation on the comment section below, or join us on our Patreon and join us on our WhatsApp community. And lastly, if you want extra content like the likes of Initiative 10, because there will be more chats moving on to our members only platform, join us on SN Plus. Again, link is below, and you will be supporting us at the same time whilst you get the extra content. That's it from us. We'll see you in the next episode very soon. Goodbye.
See you guys.